You are a good thing. Stop letting people, TV, men, etc. define you. God gave you the victory over everything the devil was trying to get you to think about. I learned that God goes above and beyond, and we cannot even try to guess the plans that He has for us, that we are not the author of our story. God is. Because faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the convictions of things not seen. And if you're waiting to be able to see the end result before you make a move, you're not moving on faith. The purpose is not a position or a job or a title. Purpose is a posture. God is going to take you on a journey, and it's not going to make sense now. Baby, when that thing clicks, you're going to see that it was all a part of the process. Be you, shine bright, and stay holy. And if that's not possible, then baby, take that up with God. Hello there, holy people. We are back, honey. Get into it. Get into the fact that we are here. It is season 2. That means God has not only sustained us for another season, but He has sustained us through the summer. And I know it was so long, well, it felt so long to be in that summer sabbatical. And I was just waiting and anticipating to see, what God is going to do for us and do for this podcast. And so, family, I am so excited to be back. I am so excited to see you, for all of those who are watching us on YouTube. Let me tell y'all's prayers were heard, because I didn't know if it was going to happen. I wanted it to. I really did, but I didn't know if it was going to happen. And so here we are, honey. Look at, I had to, get all dolled up and fancy for y'all. Because that's just how much this moment really means to me. And I knew I couldn't go into it the same way that, we were operating in last season, that everything, needed to be upgraded, that the upgrade that I was fishing for, what I was fishing for, the whole reason of us taking a summer sabbatical, I needed to walk in that newness. And so I'm excited because, Liz, y'all know I live in Arizona. So, sometimes it's drought season, sometimes it's monsoon season. I live in a desert. And so I knew that when I went to go fishing, I didn't know, I knew what I spoke and I knew it was some bold words, but I didn't quite yet know how God was going to deliver on that, right? The things that He set in place for me to do, I did it, I walked in it, but I didn't know how they were going to be received. So I say all that to say a huge thank you to everyone who has helped sustain and support the podcast, even during our sabbatical. It was for sure a risk. Several people told me not to do it because, Maya, it's a podcast and you've built a podcast on weekly listeners. They need stuff every week. They told me that when we came back for season 2, that people weren't going to be there listening. They told me that when we came back for season 2, that I wasn't going to get as much support. And so I am so grateful that I do not listen to those naysayers. I'm so grateful that I listen to the voice of God. And I'm so grateful that He has placed every single one of you listeners in this circle and in this atmosphere. Because, baby, y'all show this support system. Let me tell you, okay? So let me just give out a series of thank yous before I go into what I even want to discuss coming back from the sabbatical. The first thing, I know y'all heard it. I know y'all heard the new theme song. I know you heard that new jingle as you were coming in. That little, oh. That is not my vocals. Please do not judge me if you're listening to this. I do not rap. I do not sing. Listen, okay? But one of the very first things that I wanted to do was I wanted something authentic and unique to this podcast. I wanted something that I wasn't going to be able to get somewhere else. Something that I didn't have to go fishing too much for, because there are a lot of tools and resources that I currently have in my space and in my place. And one of those is my husband. That's right, to my man. Thank you to my man, my man. Hey. So I asked my husband, I asked Jalen, as I was needing new creativity and new space and new energy, I asked him to come up with a beat, a jingle, or something or another that when I hear that, I could go into that zone of, okay, this is season 2. We're walking in an upgrade. And, this is what this upgrade is going to look like. And so he went above and beyond what I could even ask, think, or imagine. And so, he gave us a little fun, a little church girl, a little vibe. So, thank you. I knew that the moment that I heard that I truly was expecting something new, that God was going to give me more than what I could have imagined as I was going fishing, right? But the other thank you I have to give to you all is thank you to every single person who shared a post. Thank you to every single a person who bought a t-shirt. That's right, honey. We came out with merch this summer. So thank you to everyone who bought a t-shirt, did all the things, those who sowed a seed. Thank you for the donations. You all know who you are, because this upgrade would not have been made possible without you. And so the t-shirts are still on the site, honey. Go on over there, myarea.com, if you want to buy them. Get your BU Shine Bright Stay Holy shirt. Get your Take That Up With God shirt. And there's a whole bunch of other ones as well. And baby, did I wear that. I know people who were sick of me, but I was wearing that shirt all the time because before I received the upgrade, I needed to walk in it, and I needed to be a walking billboard for Christ. I needed to let people know, hey, this is what I got going on in my life, okay? You step over here in this little bubble, you finna get Jesus, period. So thank you to everyone. Truly, it felt good to be able to, produce something and you all receive it and receive it well. I'm appreciative of the photos and everything. So that was just the first drop. I don't know, maybe there'll be a second one if that's what the people want. Jesus, we gotta get the people what they want. So maybe y'all let me know. But the other thank you I want to give is just to the people who prayed for me during the summer sabbatical. It was not easy. Let me tell you, it was not easy. It was not easy to get back into a routine. It was not easy to start with a blank canvas and say, okay, Lord, what direction are we going in for this season? What do the people want? It's not easy to try to get ahead, but still stay timely at the same time. And it wasn't easy to stay encouraged. Things were not happening as quick as I wanted them to. And it was very difficult to remain optimistic and hopeful. And so thank you to my circle. Thank you to my people who prayed for me, but also challenged me to walk even further into the calling God has for me. I was reminded by my coworker, I was reminded by her that, the fact that we have a podcast, the fact that, there are a lot of things that people don't realize go into creating a podcast: the sound, the lighting, the technology, the editing, all the things. It's a one-woman show over here. Okay, I ain't sending this out to nobody. I'm doing all this in-house. And the creating, the marketing, the writing, everything H to Z, it is a process. And I didn't go to school for this process. This wasn't something that I'm a professional in, but it's something that I'm stewarding over, and it's something that I am nurturing. And yeah, sometimes insecurities, show face. Sometimes imposter syndrome decides to want to sneak its way in. And so my coworker reminded me, like, girl, not everybody is doing this. But even that, the things that you're creating on a daily basis that you're not showing people, they need to see that too. They need to see that, you are walking in the fullness of what God has created you to be, walking you into the gifts that God has given you. And so, honey, I launched by faith, I launched those services, right? The creative side of me. I am starting to nurture that, and the storytelling, the gift of storytelling and the gift of encouraging people. It doesn't just stop with the podcast, right? It's in everything that I do. It's taking people's visions and helping them to be able to make it plain. It's taking their visions and helping them to be able to see, like, you can be that business owner that you want to be, right? Like, I know you don't think that you're this marketer, right? But I can help you with that. I know you don't, see the plan. I know you don't know how to work social media, but we could get you there. And so, yeah, thank you to everyone who has already put in their orders for that. Yes, already doing that. And so, when I tell you truly, the summer sabbatical has been one where I've taken a lot of steps and a lot of leap of faiths with nothing in front of me, just trusting that if I say yes and if I put the things together, that God is going to put people in my circle and that God is going to bring the resources to me. And baby, he did. He did. So shout out to God. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you all, because I know that he used some of you all. He moved through you to encourage me. And so, baby, we back. Get into it. So before I move on any further, I wanted to just give you all a little bit of encouragement, because I know that it's August. And I know that with August comes not only the end of summer, but with August also comes back to school. With August also comes the changing of weather. If you in Arizona, it ain't nothing changed. It's still hot over here. But if you in some other states, maybe, your weather has changed. But being in August comes a lot of transition. So we have 4 more months left until the end of the year. This year has gone by so fast, but 4 more months until the end of this year. And so, as I was praying to God and asking him, Lord, what do you want me to do in this episode? How do you want me to welcome the people back, right? He told me very plainly, like, you got to tell them what I did for you and did through you this summer, the change and the challenges that I have called you to this summer. Now, I'll be very transparent. It would not be Thoughts and Testimony podcast. It would not be a Maya moment if we didn't have some tech issues, okay? So I wrote this episode weeks ago. I actually recorded this episode weeks ago as well. And I recorded this episode, and, nothing had changed with the computer. This space and the capacity was still a hot mess. Everything was still a hot mess. But I was able to record a few other episodes. I was able to record a few other first, did a whole interview that you are going to be able to be blessed to hear in these upcoming weeks. And when I started to edit this episode back, episode 1 of season 2, the audio was skipping, the video was skipping. My computer was overheating. It was a nothing, right? I got frustrated because I was like, Lord, I'm running out of time. August 7th is going to be here before I know it. And little did I know, the answer came a few days later. So here I am re-recording and rewriting season 2, episode 1, because the tone in which I came to during my first draft was one of, y'all last seen me and I was going fishing and I didn't catch anything, right? But I learned how to work with what I got. But let me tell you all, the day that I recorded this, the first draft of episode 1, and all that technology happened, I text my husband and I said, babe, this computer is done for. Okay. I've pushed it to its limit. I cannot do anything else with it. And his response was, it is what it is. It's okay. I said, bruh, I only got a few more days into this episode airs. Like, what are you talking about? And to my surprise, God whispered in his ear to get me a computer. So, baby, God wanted me to re-record and rewrite this episode to let you all know, yes, I went fishing for resources at the end of season 1, and baby, the resources have came, okay? Not only did we get t-shirts, not only, do we have a YouTube channel where y'all could see me, not only have we walked into the fullness of our calling, but because we were waiting on God, because we were patient on God, and because we had faith that He was going to do what we declared and decreed over and prayed over in the beginning, baby, we got a new computer. New saints, I know y'all ain't feeling it the way I'm feeling it, but the old saints who heard this, we got a new computer, and I'm in awe and I'm thankful. And I want to stand as a testament, and I believe this is why God wanted me to re-record this episode. I stand as a testament to say, if you pray it, if you are bold enough to speak it in the atmosphere, if you are bold enough to walk in it, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, but if you are able to walk in it, baby, God gonna see that thing through, okay? As long as you give Him the glory. So I'm here giving Him the glory, right? Now, all that sounds beautiful. And yeah, I said walk boldly in it, keep the faith, other things, but I'm gonna be transparent that the faith wasn't always there this summer. And God gave me 2 good chin check shakedown moments that I want to let you all in on, right? And so I want to share with you all the chin check that happened to me in the beginning of this summer. And I know that y'all had this chin check moment too, because it was a moment that went viral. At the beginning of the summer, and right at the end of, I believe it was May, my favorite preacher girl, Sarah Jakes Robert, honey, was giving her sermon. It was called Lock In. And just as she was beginning to discuss how we are to, listen to our body and give everything over to God, everything that we are holding in, lay it at the altar, right? Trusting that God's going to carry you through the journey, right? I'm over here like, yes, hallelujah, Lord. That's for me, because I need you right now, right? But she was talking about being so locked in that you aren't focused on the distractions, that you aren't focused on, all the naysayers and things that have nothing to do with what God has called you to do. In that moment, honey, her wig came off. That's right. The Holy Spirit has snatched her wig off. And so I know if you were anywhere on these social media streets and these holy streets, that you also have heard it too, right? And a lot of people were trying to come for my sis. And let me tell y'all, I'm a Sarah Jakes stan, okay? Every time I went to her, I have gotten exactly what God has needed me to do. The way that she pours out herself vulnerably and authentically is unmatched in this kingdom. And I believe that God was truly using that wig as an example. That there were too many people focused on, the distractions, literally missed the entire sermon that she had going on, as she was talking about not to focus on the distractions, that it ain't even about all of the makeup and the hair and the clothes. It's not even about all that, right? It's about coming to do what God has told you to do on your journey. And as she was talking about that, her wig snatches off, right? So many people afterward was like, that's what she gets for trying to look all cute. This is why women should be in the pulpit. There's too many this, there's too many that. Like, that was going in on my good sis. And to those people, go back and watch that sermon. You missed the whole point. But to everybody else who watched that, I know you felt the way that I felt. And that was a breakthrough moment for me, seeing that happen to her, because it was the timeliness of the message for me going into the summer sabbatical, feeling lost on what my direction is, feeling like, oh, Lord, I gave you a whole bunch of things I need you to do. At this point, I'm in miracle territory, and I don't have a lot of time for you to work these miracles. It was easy for me to look at all those things and get distracted by the real reason I went on summer sabbatical. And that was to get closer to God. That was to be so in tune with God that me and him, honey, was out here fishing on the boat. And so that's what Sarah's sermon was talking about. Some things that I had learned from her sermon is that she talks about, this wanting to be so locked in with God. She gave a few examples, but wanting to be so locked in with God that you're able to discern in the spiritual immediately, right? Without doubt, that you are able to feel it not only in the spiritual, but you're able to feel it physically, that gut feeling that you feel, being so locked in that you know when you got his power or you know when it's left your body. You know that when you've walked into a room, this is where you need to be. And when you're not in a room, that you know that's where you don't need to be, right? That you are able to walk with this sense of godliness because God is always with you, that you are able to be intuitive and be able to discern. And that was my problem during the summer, that it was just too quiet. Like, God, I'm out here praying fervently for these things. I'm out here asking for these things. And I'm not hearing you. I'm not feeling you. Like, how am I supposed to walk into season 2 and give the people what they want? And I'm not feeling you myself. I feel spiritually empty. I need to overflow. The things I'm praying and asking for, I need to overflow. And I don't have it right now, right? And so this was such a timely message for me because God created us to be complete beings, to be in reliance to him. And so when she's calling us to lock in and not focus on the things, to not focus on the distractions, to not focus on the anxieties and things, she's telling us that for a reason, right? Because that's what it's going to be when you're locked in. That's what it's going to be to take you to the next level. And so yeah, there are a lot of things that happen physically that we don't pay attention to. All that anxiety that you're feeling, that's why you got headaches, sis. That's exactly why you got headaches, right? All of that worriness, that's why you can't hear God, because you're clouding up here. You can't even hear him. And so that was a chin check moment for me. She has said, sometimes we're waiting on God to speak a word to us, but he's already told us. And he's told us in our body, and we're not listening to it, but he's also told us, spiritually, and we're not able to discern it. And so that was a slap. God was like, girl, listen, I'm telling you what you need to do, but you ain't listening. But she also says that part of being locked in is coming as the full package that you are. It's coming as you are and letting God fill you, mold you, shape you, build you to be where you need to be, right? So when you're focused on the wrong things, when you're saying, oh, well, Lord, I don't got the computer to do whatever, you're more focused on the thing than you are on relying on God to build you up and provide the thing to now make you full, complete. All the things, right? We're already complete in God's eye. He made us. He hand made it us. There are no flaws and imperfections in God's eyes. And what he doesn't like about us, what's not made in the image of Christ, that's his job to mold and shape and build us up. So we need to come with all of the holes. We need to come with all the imperfections because he's going to do the rest, right? So this whole reminder from me by my coworker this summer of, girl, you aren't even walking in the fullness of your creative. You're downplaying the creativity that God has given you. You're downplaying the gifts that God has given you. And it's an insult to God for you to be like, I ain't that. I'm not that, so I'm not going to do it, right? Pray over it. And if he's called you to it, if he's giving you a gift and that ability, all you need to do is say, Lord, I believe this is a gift. I believe this is a talent that I have. I'm turning it over to you. And if this is what you want me to do with it, Lord God, show me the way. And I want you to get the glory out of all of it. But the moment that we are selfish and we take that away from God, we take the glory away from him, right? We're not even walking in the fullness. And so being locked in is coming as you are. The important part and emphasis on coming. Right? Because sometimes we spend too much time trying to have it all together that we neglect the word that we got in the first place. The word I got was, Maya, take a summer sabbatical so you can get closer to me. And in season 2, I'm going to promise you an upgrade. But here we are a week into the upgrade when this message comes out. And I'm like, well, Lord, ain't finna be no season 2 because I ain't got the computer yet. Right? But I needed to just come. I needed to just do. I needed to just be in the presence of God, and he was going to work everything out in his time. And he did, right? He did. But the question I have for us as we are anticipating this new season, as we are anticipating walking into August with all of the back to school things and, everything that comes with shifting into the fall season is, are you delaying your blessing that God has promised you because you're focused on the wrong thing? And are you going to continue to delay that because you're focused on the distractions? As we are shifting, right? I don't want us to spend too much time on worrying about what we do and what we don't have. What I believe God is calling us to do is to just come before him and trust that he's going to work everything else out. I believe that God is calling you, just like how he called me in the beginning of the summer, to lock in, spend time with him, come as you are, and he will do the rest. Now, also, these idols y'all got going on, these idols for me too. The social media, right? The perfectionism, the spirit of I need to come full. I need to be perfect. We got to get rid of that too, right? We cannot say that we're locked in on God and we're serving an idol, right? Because Sarah says the thing about being locked in is that it's not about you, it's about God. Right? You so worried about your fears. You so worried about your anxiety. You so worried about being perfect and looking perfect that you aren't even giving God room to do what he needs to do. It's not about what you look like. It's about the fact that you came to God. It's not about how you feel. It's about the fact that God has called you to do what you need to do. Right? So it became very obvious to me in the beginning of the summer that any upgrade that I was seeking, that it was going to be whether or not I decide to let God take me there by how focused I am on him, right? No distractions, no idols. Girl, are you going to sit down, read this Bible, pray, and talk to God first? It also became apparent that nothing was going to be off limits this summer, because if God can use Sarah's wig to demonstrate a message on the highest of highest platforms, right? They got thousands of people watching and attending in person. That if God was going to be able to use this wig to demonstrate this message, that he is certainly going to be able to use anything this summer. But all I needed to do was lock in and recognize this, right? Now, that was a great chin check moment for me to kind of get over this slump of, what do I do in this in between, right? Of, okay, Lord, we're walking into season 2. I'm asking for the resources, but clearly they're not prime delivery, okay? Clearly my prayers do not come with heaven prime 2-day overnight shipping. So in this in between time, I couldn't just wait till they showed up at my door. I couldn't just wait. I needed to prove myself ready and able and capable of handling these resources. And so I began to do, right? I began to do the praying. I began to talk to God. I began to not focus on creating for the podcast in season 2, but creating to fill my cup, creating to overflow, what God has called me to be closer to him in relationship with him. And so as we do that, and as the resources started coming in, thank God I was able to begin focusing on the podcast and producing and all that stuff. But it came as a result of me locking in. Then, right before I was about to release these episodes, honey, and God called me to re-record this, he gave me another chin check that came toward the end of this summer sabbatical. And so beginning of summer, God said, lock in. But what I believe God has told me to do and what I believe he wants me to share with you all, which this was the message I feel like I was waiting on, was just because summer has ended does not mean you stop. You have to keep locking in. You have to make locking in a part of your routine, right? So let me tell y'all how this happened. I told y'all I love Sarah, truly do. Um, Last summer, I was blessed with the opportunity to receive a ticket to Woman Evolved 2023 by my good friend Paige Patton's ministry called Deliver Her. So, baby, I'm going to Woman Evolved. We in there. The ticket is booked. The hotel and Airbnb is soon to be booked. Baby, we're going. The time off has been taken. So, I'm so excited to be in the room. So just actually a few days ago, Sarah had called for a corporate fast, a corporate 40-day fast. And it came timely because as the women who are going on this trip, a part of the Deliver Her Ministries, we all began praying over some of the things that we wanted to change in our lives. And so I've always made goals. I've always did vision boards. And now, hearing Sarah's message of lock in, being so in tune with your body, I realized, girl, this temple of yours, you've been putting on the back burner, right? We've been inconsistent with taking care of it, with tending to it. And so part of the routine is, yeah, I want to be so locked in with God, I can feel it in my body. But baby, the things that I do currently feel in my body, maybe I need to give God a little, take care of his home a little bit more. And so I put that in the chat, but then I was like, dang, I got a whole bunch of doubt because how many times have I prayed the same prayer? How many times have I asked for this? And at this point, it's just a stronghold. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do it, right? But I said, we're going to do that. So this 40-day fast, I've set intentional goals to fast and to pray and to omit some things for the 40 days leading up to Woman Evolved, because I believe that there is a shift. Ooh, I believe it so much. I can't describe it, but I told my husband, I was like, I don't care how much it costs. I know I need to be in this room because something is going to happen in that room. And I'm so thankful I'm going. And the fact that we are going to be fasting and praying 40 days before, I know is going to call for a type of commitment that is going to take us into miracle zone, right? It's going to take us into what we need, what we are wanting to be, it's taking us to a level in which we're saying to God, I'm committed, I'm locked in, use me how you need to be used. So I'm excited. So here we are, put that in the atmosphere. Literally the next day after I said, okay, Maya, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to commit myself. I heard a sermon that I sent out to everybody. I sent out to the Bible study group. I sent out to the Woman Evolved group, honey. I sent to my auntie. I sent to everybody. It was so good. It was called It's in the Routine by Jerry Flowers. And I'm going to link it in the description. If you're listening audio, in the description there, in the YouTube, I'll put in the description of YouTube. But it has drastically given me the type of encouragement and the type of chain breaking motivation that I know I need to be able to walk into this. But a few things he said, right? In order to see the spiritual results that you want to see, you have to examine what routines you have in the first place. Because sometimes we are the ones getting frustrated, but it's really ourselves. We're getting frustrated because we don't see fruit, but we haven't planted the seeds consistently to get the fruit we're seeking, right? He also says, he talks about obedience, he talks about discipline, he talks about routine awareness. And he said, obedience opens doors you don't have to knock on, right? So just because I'm obedient to God, doors are going to open for me. I don't even got to worry about that thing coming to me. I don't have to worry about that upgrade coming to me because I'm obedient. God's going to do the rest, right? But he also says that we reap the blessings and the fruit of favor in our lives based on the seeds of obedience and discipline that we plant. He says discipline plows the soil and our routines plant the seeds. And consistency brings the harvest. Honey, when I heard this, I already started shouting because discipline, consistency, and routines are trash in my life. They are things that I strive for, I know I want, but I just haven't been able to shake that off of me. I haven't been able to get into that yet. It's so hard for me. And so when I was listening to this, it was very apparent that, sis, you put in the atmosphere and you're going to lock in for the next 40 days that these are the goals that you want. that God, you are stewarding over your podcast, you're stewarding over the calling God has given you, that now that you've taken care of the outer, it's time to focus on the inner. And the same energy you put into locking in and everything else in your life, it's time to lock in with yourself and self-care. And it seems overwhelming. Absolutely, right? As you all are entering into August and about to walk into these new routines, now you got to wake up at a different time. Now you're off at a different time. Now you got to pick the kids up. Now you got to worry about school zones and all the things, right? As we are shifting into this new, I think it's an opportunity for us to lean in, press forward, and embrace the new routines. So the habits and the routines that you've had over the summer, waking up and scrolling for an hour, I'm talking to myself, hello, or I'm just going to sit in and Netflix and binge all day. Those things you can get rid of. You can walk into new as we are entering these last 4 months of the year. If you, one, lock in, and two, build a routine that is rooted in discipline, that is rooted in obedience, and rooted in consistency. So I thank God for the timeliness of this 40-day fast that I am about to enter on. Tomorrow is my very first fast. At the time that you are going to be hearing this podcast, I will be on day number 3. So pray for your girl, because I've had some big goals. I have some big goals that I'm committing to during this 40-day fast. And I need prayer. I know I cannot make it through without the prayer, but I've locked in. I've already conquered that mountain in the beginning of the summer. Now it's the little things that I do every day that are going to build up, that are going to plant those seeds. And then I'll be able to reap the blessing and favor that comes with walking into that, right? So that was the beginning. That was the end, honey. I want to encourage you all. I want to encourage you all. I'm going to be giving you more stories of what happened to me this summer during the month of August. But for this here particular episode, I want you to really tap in, and I want you to focus on what routines you need to get into. What routines do you need to get out, right? For you to be able to be the person you want to be. Don't get overwhelmed by the end result. Focus on the day-to-day routine, the routine awareness, as Pastor Jeremy Flowers was talking about, right? So get into it. Be so in tune with your body that you feel God in it. But also be so in tune with God that you've developed a routine with Him that's going to allow Him to show up consistently in your life as you show up consistently for Him. So I'm inviting you these last 4 months. I believe in us. I believe in y'all. I believe in myself. Baby, we're going to get into the right routine. We're going to get us some focus. Amen. We're going to get into some obedience. We are going to get into it. We are going to get into our calling. We are going to walk into our calling. We are going to show up boldly in this season. We are going to show up unapologetically, and we are going to walk into the fullness of who we are created to be. And we're going to do it every day. We are going to commit to showing up to yourself every single day. Well, that was a mouthful, but I needed to show you all and explain to you all what I've been going through so you can understand, honey, why I look the way I look at YouTube family, why I am so overjoyed and why I'm so eager to experience season 2, because this has shown me consistency in this aspect of my life that I want to apply in my personal life. And so I know that He could do it because He did it for the podcast. I know He could do it because I'm doing it already. I just need to apply it to another part of my life. So I invite you, family, to join in on with me. Pray for me as I'm going on this 40-day fast. Please pray for me. Pray for me as I am preparing for the Woman Evolve conference. You can guarantee that is going to be an episode that I cannot wait to debrief, because there are going to be over 40,000 women there gathering in prayer. 18,000 have already signed up to join the fast. And so, baby, the kingdom of God about to show up and show out. But I want y'all to be you, shine bright, and stay holy. And if that ain't possible, then baby, take that up with God.